From the new Center 11 studios, the 2017 Meridian Mayoral Forum. Brought to you by the Meridian Star and WTOK-TV. Now, here's tonight's moderator, Candace Barnett.
Good evening and welcome to the 2017 Meridian Mayoral Forum, brought to you by WTOK-TV and the Meridian Star. I'm joined tonight by my colleagues Andrea Williams of WTOK and Whitney Downard of the Meridian Star. We thank you for joining us tonight to discuss the important issues that affect you. We'd like to thank each of the candidates for coming tonight to discuss their qualifications and vision if they are elected to be the next mayor of Meridian. Now let's take a look at this year's race. Current mayor and Democratic candidate Percy Bland faces two challengers in this year's election: Republican William Compton Jr. and independent candidate Dustin Markham, who is currently the city councilman for Ward 2 in Meridian. We are also glad to welcome to tonight's forum several community leaders and members who are serving as our guest panel for the event. A little bit later in the show, each of the panelists will ask the candidates one question. Each of our two panelists will have 3 questions for the candidates. The candidates will each have up to 1.5 minutes for their response to each question in this segment. No one will be allowed to interrupt the other candidate's response. Before the panelists begin asking questions, they'll have up to 45 seconds to introduce themselves to you. The order for our introductions will go in alphabetical order, so Mr. Bland will lead off, followed by Mr. Compton and Mr. Markham. So first up is Democratic candidate Mayor Percy Bland.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you for hosting this event. Thank you to the panel. I first of all would like to thank the City of Meridian for electing me mayor 4 years ago. My wife, who's in the audience, and my family would like to thank you for electing us as a family and letting us serve this community. Meridian is on the move, and I'm the only candidate tonight at the table that can continue the progress that we're making in this city. We have a lot of great things going on, from a paving plan to our graduation rates are up and our unemployment is down. Of course, we have the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience coming to town, and we have a 3-foot project that we're very excited about. Over the next hour and a half, I want to continue to tell you my vision for the city and for why I should be reelected mayor for the city of Meridian. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Bland. And now Mr. Compton, if you'll introduce yourself.
My name's Bill Compton, and I am the Republican candidate for the office of mayor of the city of Meridian. I am a retired history and science teacher from Meridian High School, and I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, the Republican Party was formed in 1854, and since then it has been the opposition party to the Democrats for 163 years. This election is about the votes. The last election we lost because we wouldn't get out the votes. The Republicans thought we had it. We wouldn't go vote. This year we need to get out and vote. This is about getting to the polls on June the 6th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Compton. Now, Councilman Markham, if you'll introduce yourself to us.
Thank you. Good evening to the panel and to those watching at home. My name is Dustin Markham. I'm currently the councilman for Ward 2. I am the son of Robert and Ann Markham, lifelong residents here of the city of Meridian. I'm a lifelong resident. I'm a graduate of Meridian High School, class of 2003, MCC graduate of 2005. I am a practicing attorney here in the city of Meridian, and I also am a school bus driver for Meridian Public Schools in the morning route. We recognize as a city that we can do better, that we can move forward. We cannot continue to wander aimlessly. We have to move forward and have strategic plans for how we land jobs, how we fight crime, our community development portion, how we welcome small to mid-sized businesses, how we clean your ditches and culverts, and how we address your residential areas. I'm asking for your vote on June 6th.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Now we'll head to the panelist questions. Each candidate will have up to 1.5 minutes to respond. First, we'll begin with Andrea Williams of WTOK-TV.
Thanks, Candace. Here's my question, and I will pose it initially to Councilman Markham. According to the head of the Meridian Realtors Association, 2 things that top the list in terms of concerns for potential buyers here within the city. Education is one, taxes another one. With that being said, how would you address these concerns and improve home ownership percentages within the city?
Well, first of all, we need to improve the quality of life. 5 of the factors that individuals look at when they choose to come to the city of Meridian are things like our incentives. There are things like our education and how we are able to educate our workforce, the ability to recruit new industry with our healthcare corridor, and other additional issues, what we pay our citizens and what their wages are across the city. From the educational aspect, I think we need to be more involved in the city. I believe if I'm elected mayor, we will be able to cultivate and create a comprehensive program that serves as an umbrella, brings all 501c3s together, as well as brings our schools together, city and county, to work to cultivate our future here. Also, as far as our homes are concerned, taxes I think have stabilized, but citizens don't mind paying taxes when they're receiving the service. So we have to look at improving our service aspect of the city of Meridian as it relates to the water and sewer issues and in the annexed areas and some of the areas that are more attractive to citizens wanting to buy property and actually live in Meridian. But we have to recruit and we have to be strong at improving our quality of life here in the city of Meridian if we want individuals to move back. We have to squash out crime. We have to have a realistic plan. Our citizens have to believe in us and believe that we are doing everything we can to stifle crime.
Mayor Bland, same question.
First of all, as I said, unemployment is down and graduation rates are up, and we are moving in the right direction with our school district. Of course, we have new leadership. Of course, Dr. Carter has great plans to continue on with the foundation that she has with the Meridian Public School District, and I look forward to continue to partner with her in those efforts. The bottom line of it is MCC is the third-ranked community college in the United States of America. For us to have more home ownership, of course, education plays a key vital role in that. We're going to continue to partner with MCC and Mississippi State to move this city forward so that more people can have home ownership. We're currently working with Meridian Housing Authority and their first-time home buyers program and with other local banks so that we can have initiatives in place for first-time home buyers. As far as our taxes, since I've been the mayor in the last 4 years, we have expanded programs and expanded services in Parks and Rec, in community development, and in other programs with the city of Meridian without any tax increases. So I'm very proud about that, and I'm very proud after looking at the data, between 225 to 260 units of homes have been sold in the last 3 to 4 years under our current leadership.
Same question, Mr. Compton.
Would you give it to me one more time,
Sure.
please?
According to the head of the Meridian Realtors Association, 2 things top the list in terms of concerns for potential home buyers here within the city. The first is education, the second is taxes. With that being said, if elected, how would you address these concerns and improve home ownership percentages within the city?
These are nice talking points, but they really don't have a lot to do with the mayor. The mayor has to work with the city council in order to accomplish anything. And I think that is the main point of this election. Our past mayor and city council had problems working with one another. As far as the schools go, we've got a good school system here. We really do. The problem with our school system is we don't have jobs for these children when they get out. When they graduate, we need to have a place where they can go. The problem in Meridian as far as education goes is the poverty. Okay, it's not about the education. I taught at Meridian High School. It's a really good school. As far as the taxes go, we need the taxes. There's no way to reduce the taxes. That's how we pay for the roads and everything else. So we have a quiet little community as compared to the rest of the nation, and I'd just like to keep it that way.
All right, thank you, Mr. Compton. Thank you, gentlemen. And now for our first question from Whitney Downard of the Meridian Star.
Thank you, Candace. First up, I'd like to ask if tax exemptions and other sort of incentives are necessary to draw high-paying jobs to Meridian, and if so, should we be focusing on attracting one large employer or several mid-sized and small businesses instead? And first off, I'd like Mayor Bland to respond to that question.
We have in economic development, of course, always worked with EMBDC. They have great leadership in place right now with Bill Hanna. And from the city and the county standpoint, we have since I've been mayor, with Certainty and also with Tower, offered great incentives for existing businesses. As mayor, I've also been on a trip with Algix, an up-and-coming company right here in the city of Meridian that has great technology that they're using from the source of algae that I think that they, of course, will bring a lot of jobs here to the city of Meridian.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the 2017 Meridian Mayoral Candidates Forum, brought to you by WTOK and the Meridian Star. We just heard from the candidates responding to questions by our panel. Now they'll answer the questions from several members of the community who are on our guest panel this evening. First, the rules for this segment. Each of our community members will ask one question. Each of the candidates will then respond to that question. They have up to a minute to answer. Again, like last time, they will not be allowed to interrupt any of the responses. Let's turn now to our panel to introduce our first guest.
Our first question tonight will come from Dr. Kathy Baxter, a well-known local political analyst. Dr. Baxter.
From past administrations, are there any policies or practices that you, if elected, would like to keep or discard, and why?
Thank you.
Who answers first?
Mr. Compton, you'll begin. You have 1 minute.
Okay. This election is about past administrations. The Republican Party held the office of mayor for 28 years. And then 4 years ago, we had a little hiccup. Something happened. And the Democrats went in. Well, I'm trying to get the Republicans to activate themselves and go to the poll on June the 6th. We need to have a Republican mayor in the office again, and we need to have a Republican city council. If you want to get things done in Meridian, if you hope to have any political voice in the future as a Republican, you need to vote on June the 6th for a Republican mayor and a Republican city council.
Mayor Bland, you're up next.
Dr. Baxter, one of the first things that I did, it was a very important policy for this administration, was changing of course, you know, the state, $7.25 is the, I changed the livable wage act to $9 an hour. Of course, the federal guidelines is $7.25 an hour, but I also changed the employee handbook that was very outdated. And one of the next things that I want to do as mayor is to utilize our Mississippi State University study and have the flexibility to put our wages in line with the state and with the region. We have moved a lot of our employees up so that we're more competitive, but we still got some room to go. And with 3 affirmative votes on the city council, that's going to be the first act of business that I do in a new administration.
Councilman Markham, you have 1 minute.
Thank you, Dr. Baxter. That's an excellent question. One of the things that I have been a proponent on and an advocate on since I've been on the council is civil service. Civil service was disbanded and has lost its effectiveness and been diluted over the last 3 years. It's still not correct. I would improve civil service. I would fix it. I would fix the testing procedure. I would make it uniform between in-house testing and our partnership with MCC. And I would work on how we can get more City of Meridian residents to apply for city employment. I would also have an improved felon forgiveness program where those who are nonviolent offenders have an excellent opportunity to apply for the city on probation. I would also look at streamlining the current policies of our updated community development codes for businesses and provide business liaisons for businesses and residents. And I will review pay adjustments for all city employees, police, fire, everyone, Parks and Rec, community development, and I will update incentives. The pay raises that have been given are still below the state average, so we need to look across the board for everyone. But those are a few that I would touch.
Next, we have Mr. Victor Hubbard, the principal of Meridian High School.
Here you go.
Good evening, candidates. Recently, public education has received an enormous cut in funding. Being aware of this, what are your plans to address the needs of funding for your local schools?
Mayor Bland, your response first.
Good question. What I would do is continue to partner with MCC. Of course, MCC has a workforce development program there. You guys have a lot of students that are getting the skills that they need at Ross Collins in that partnership. I will try to utilize city resources. Of course, I would need the council vote to do some of those things, but I would try to utilize some of our resources to partner so that we can develop the youth and develop some of the skills that they have. Also, I would develop a STEM program. One of the things that I've done each year that I've been mayor is to raise $25,000 for a STEM program for students at your high school, Mr. Hubbard. And I think a partnership utilizing the resources that we have at MCC and the resources we have in our budget can help you guys address some of this shortfall. Of course, it will take 3 votes on the council, but that will be my plan.
Councilman Markham, your response?
Mr. Hubbard, I think the city of Meridian needs to create a comprehensive program. We need to have a designated grant writer that is allowed to write grants full time for how we'd expand our budget to partner with Meridian Public Schools, partner with our 501c3s, and partner with some fraternities and sororities who have special interest in serving our kids. I think the more we expand the budget, the more we find outside resources and third-party resources, the more we will be able to fill that gap and that shortfall as it relates to educational funding and educational cuts. I think the city of Meridian needs to be at the front, in the forefront, as it relates to creating new opportunities for our kids. To some extent, we've done that with the Boys and Girls Club and their summer program that they're going to do. But at the same time, we need to touch all kids, reach out to all kids, and especially those kids at the Meridian Public School District who are going to be our future.
Mr. Compton, your response?
Victor, I don't want to lie to you. I don't know where we're going to get the money. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. These are nice suggestions for these talking points, but I'm honestly appalled by the state legislature and the governor at stripping education. They seem to think that that's where you go to make up the budget. When you've got a deficit, you rob education. I think it's a problem that needs to be addressed on the state level by replacing some people in Jackson who will not. Sorry, I get a little emotional when I'm talking about education. You can't strip education. The federal government came in and took over our high school and told us that we were sending children to Parchment. That broke my heart. That made me mad. We need to go to Jackson and get this straight. Thank you.
Winnie Andrea, will you introduce our next guest?
Yes. Our next audience member tonight is Ms. Akila Hutnell, attorney Akila Hutnell.
Good evening, panel. A kind of different question. What's the biggest professional mistake that you've made thus far, and what did you learn from that, or how did you overcome that?
First up is Councilman Markham for this question.
That's an excellent question. Biggest professional mistake is, to some extent, not to have your ears all the way open, but to some extent it allows for you to recover and makes you more sensitive to the fact that your ears are not open. So as a councilman, I've learned since I've been on the council to have my ears open, to have my eyes open, and to keep my mouth closed when I listen to the concerns of citizens. I think in doing that, it allows me to get a better picture and a better understanding of exactly what they're going through, whether it's a flooded ditch or a collapsed culvert or a pothole or other issues that are important to them or priorities to them. Citizens call all the time, and you may be in the middle of something, but those things are important to them right then, and you have to stop, drop everything, and show them that they're important. So from a mistake comes an excellent life lesson that allows me to now give the attention to everyone who needs my attention.
Right. Mr. Compton, you have 1 minute.
My worst professional mistake was not taking my father's advice and finishing my college education. I love working with my hands, and I love operating heavy equipment. I went out to Colorado and got a job working for the Aspen Skiing Company. And after I'd worked for them for several years, I had an opportunity to take a supervisor's position. And they refused to even interview me for the position because I didn't have a college degree. And what they ended up doing was hiring someone for that position and then having me train them. So that would be my worst mistake that I feel like I ever made. I would probably still be in Colorado right now as a mountain manager.
Mayor Bland, your response?
As mayor, probably sometimes not going with my gut instinct a little quicker. And sometimes in not doing that, sometimes things can fester in leadership for longer than they need to. And so one of the things that, I continue to try to do is surround myself with great people, with great quality people, listen to their advice, but when it's time to make a decision relatively quickly and trust your gut.
Welcome back to the final segment of our 2017 Meridian Mayoral Forum. The candidates will now have more time to address what their opponents brought up in the previous segments or use that time to address any other topics that have not been talked about earlier. Then our panelists, Andrea and Whitney, will ask some follow-up questions. First, we'll have time for rebuttal where each candidate will have 3 minutes and 15 seconds to speak. We drew positions before the show, and the order will be Dustin Markham, William Compton, and then Mayor Percy Bland. There will be no interruptions. So Dustin, we'll begin with you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And now our panelists will ask follow-up questions to the issues that the candidates addressed earlier in the forum. Whitney, you'll begin.
First of all, I was just going to start, we've had a lot of negative back and forth. Is the city in a better place than it was 4 years ago? And this is just open panel. We'll just go down the line alphabetically.
No doubt about it. I've talked about a lot of great projects that we have here. We're addressing the areas of our streets with paving. Our unemployment numbers are down. We have great projects coming downtown. We have the Velma Young Center in the most depressed neighborhood community in this city of $2.1 million investment. You don't improve your community until you make investments in the guts and the core of your community. I'm very proud about those things. Hey, government is a contact sport. Government is a contact sport and it's a team sport. So even though myself and Mr. Markham and even the other candidate may not agree, at the end of the day, I will always continue to address the needs of each and every individual in this community, even if I don't agree with my opponents or the council members or people in city, county government. That's the way government works. We don't have to always agree, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be the only candidate that can lead this city in the right direction and the path it's currently on.
All right, Mayor, we're going to move on to Mr. Compton now.
The definition, I'm sure you all know, of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're happy with what's happened in the last 4 years and you think we're making progress, then you can make that choice. If you're not getting what you want or you think we can do better, vote Republican. Put a Republican mayor in and a Republican city council in, and we'll go back to the way we were. I just don't see leaps and bounds of progress in the last 4 years. My life is not 100% better. I can't see how it has improved as a result of this past administration. And that's what people in Meridian ought to ask themselves, is your life better?
Mr. Compton, we need to move on to Councilman Markham now.
Pressure creates diamonds. So to some extent, conflict is needed in city government because the best arguments produce the best solutions. A lot of times as a council member and as a panel of 5, we had to save the mayor from himself, especially during year 1 when we had to override a couple of his vetoes that just didn't make any sense.
Andrea, your next question.
We will start with Councilman Markham. My question is, what do you view as the City of Meridian's greatest asset And if elected, what will you do to market that to bring overall growth?
As to its greatest asset, the people, the diversity of the city. People come from several different backgrounds, several different areas, and the citizens of Meridian are proud to be from the city of Meridian. So we have some good things going on, we have some bad things going on, but they're proud to be from the city of Meridian. So I think its people is fundamental. My plan would be to bring them to the table any chance I could to make any big decision that was going to affect them as a whole.
Mr. Compton.
I think the Bonita Lakes are our chief, an emerald, or our jewel. I believe that we can bring people from the north, what they call snowbirds, down to Meridian for our winters. Our winters are incredible. You know, it may just be a regular winter to you, but this is what is called a Colorado winter. Our winters are fantastic.
We need to move on now.
Mayor Bland.
I think I agree with Mr. Markham on this one, our people, our medical community, and of course NAS Meridian. I think that's what separates us from other communities, and I think those are the assets we need to continue to build upon.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now we'll have time for closing statements from the candidates. Each candidate will have 1 minute. We drew for the order before the show, and we'll lead off with Councilman Markham, followed by Mr. Bland, and then Mr. Compton.
As I said earlier, Meridian, we know where we are. We know where we need to be. We know what's not been taken care of. All through this telecast tonight, you have not heard one real plan about crime. You see the commercials about body cameras. You see the commercials about technology. How does body cameras and technology stop shooting in our communities? We have to be stronger. We have to be realistic. We have to acknowledge the problems and then move forward with positive solutions. And you have to be welcomed to the table. Whether you're a business owner or a resident, whether you stay on East End, South Side, North Hills, Newell Road, regardless, you have to sit down with the mayor and the council and come up with positive solutions that are going to lead the city. Leadership is only as strong as its leader. You cannot hide during the tough times. You have to make sure the city is moving forward, and you have to answer the tough questions. I'm asking for your vote June 6th. I'm built by Meridian, for Meridian, and I've shown that with 4 strong years on the city council.
Mayor Bland.
Meridian is on the move, and thank you, Mr. Markham, for continuing to spread the message of why it's on the move. It's on the move because we are doing paving. It's on the move because we do have a plan in crime, and we're addressing that with body cameras, with new lighting, with new technology, with new things that our police officers have in their cars so they can address issues right there in their cars. Unemployment is down, and graduation rates are up. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your support to be re-elected mayor of the city of Meridian. One team, one dream, one Meridian together. One team, one dream, one Meridian together. Vote on June 6th and vote to re-elect Mayor Percy Bland.
Mr. Compton, your closing statements.
I hate to just keep pounding this, but I'm a Republican, okay? And we need to work together to elect a Republican mayor and a Republican city council. That election's coming up on June the 6th. The last time we faltered, we let it go. We can't just sit by and let things happen. We have to make a determined effort to vote on June the 6th and elect a Republican mayor and city council. Plain and simple. I have a Democrat on each side of me here, and they have decided to, to make points and argue about the issues here, and I can't complain. I can't even get involved with some of the things that they know about city government. But all I do know is that by Republicans standing beside one another and beside the party, we can win this election.
All right, thank you, Mr. Compton, and a big thank you to all of our candidates for participating tonight. A reminder that the general election will be June 6th. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. The deadline for absentee voting is June 3rd at noon at Meridian City Hall. And if you missed any part of the Mayoral Forum, it will be rebroadcast Sunday, May 28th after News Center 11 at 10 on WTOK-TV. You can also watch the broadcast again on WTOK.com and the MeridianStar.com. Thank you to our guest panelists for participating. Also thanks to Andrea and Whitney with the Meridian Star. And thanks again to those candidates. And thank you for watching. Have a great night, everyone.